Warning: sensitive content.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Of friars who are confessors, and unhappy women will, of their own free will, reveal to men all their sins and shameful and most secret deeds.
Please watch on for Prophecy of the Golden Age, Part 234, Prophecies by the great Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci, vegetarian.
Humans have only one heart compared to an octopus's 3, but surely we can show sea animals compassion by leaving them in the ocean and off our plates. Beau Bridges, vegan.
Hello, magnificent viewers! As you stroll through Italy's art galleries, you may hear exclamations of Magnifico! This means magnificent in Italian. I am Matteo, a Venetian spice merchant, whose aromatic seasonings were once used to also create precious pigments for notable paintings. The wise people of Italy believe in your moral clarity to distinguish right from wrong. May you and your loved ones thrive in everlasting peace and joy. Throughout the history of mankind, the divine messages are often shrouded in mystery. Prophets, messiahs, or whichever names you call them, are often persecuted and oppressed, their words obscured. But how do we distinguish the true from the false? To do so, one can only rely on the divine's guidance, and the truth will reveal itself to those who earnestly seek it. Leonardo da Vinci's visions of the grim future of churches continued, with detailing their darkest acts. It seems he foresaw the exposure of such criminal behaviors that are the opposite of God's law, stepping far away from God's commandments.
Of friars who are confessors, and unhappy women will, of their own free will, reveal to men all their sins and shameful and most secret deeds.
In recent years, there has been worldwide disclosure of sexual abuse within the Church. First, it came to light that children had been molested. Now, we find that nuns have been sexually abused for decades behind the doors of Catholic institutions.
They're known as brides of Christ, revered for their quiet service, not for speaking out. But that's beginning to change.
Well, I joined the convent in 2003, and I was raped in 2008.
When she told her superiors, she says the priest went unpunished, allowing him to rape her again and again.
But this whole time, the perpetrator was still living in the same... So you had to actually see your rapist...
Every day.
Every day.
He was preaching in the chapel. He was giving me Holy Communion. He was sitting at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner, at the same table. I was ironing his shirts.
He's a priest, he's a father, he's near God, he's like God, the Christ is living in him. He cannot do something like this. I think the worst was to talk. It broke me. It broke my body, in fact. I prefer to have been shot by a gun, or if I have just a leg handicap, it's okay, I can live my life. But here it's a murder inside of your heart and of your soul, because it's about faith also. So it's like something is dead in me.
These young women were targeted as easy prey because they were ready to serve God and accepted everything they were asked to do. The predator priests used the name of Jesus and God to manipulate them.
Liene was a novice when she was abused. Liene says the abuse went on for 15 years. In the letters she shows us, Father Marie-Olivier suggests discretion, adding that his crazy love for her comes from Jesus.
Les premiers gestes sont arrivés un soir où ils étaient tous partis et moi j'étais malade. Et en fait, il a fermé les volets d'un parloir et il m'a dit « Vous n'avez pas besoin de prière, vous avez besoin de ces gestes-là. Ça va vous amener vers Dieu. » Et après, les gestes se sont renforcés et c'est là que ça a été l'enfer. Le prêtre posait ses gestes au moment juste avant l'absolution. Et il faut savoir que quand un prêtre confesse et qu'on arrive au moment de l'absolution, le prêtre agit in persona Christi, en personne de Dieu. Je me suis toujours dit, quand il posait ses gestes, il agit au nom de Dieu. Donc je n'ai pas de questions à me poser, c'est Dieu qui veut ça pour moi. Ça se passait en plus dans une chapelle, donc il n'y avait pas de remise en question à avoir.
Such abuse is so widespread that it seems to be systemic to the Catholic Church as an institution. Worse yet, it is still going on behind closed doors.
In India, a bishop currently faces charges for repeatedly raping a former Mother Superior, and a recent investigation by the Associated Press found cases of abuse across 4 continents.
This doesn't concern just one country or continent. In fact, the examples which follow are the fruit of 6 years of experience spent in 23 countries, spread throughout 5 continents.
We are talking about victims who don't speak out. But what about those who went straight to psychiatric hospitals? What about those who mutilated themselves? I know of one case. Her parents called me to tell me that she had cut out her own tongue.
Moreover, when the church or convent leadership discovered that a nun was impregnated by a priest, they were mostly asked to have an abortion, which the church condemns as a grave sin. They were also expelled from the congregation, while the predator priest or bishop has been able to stay.
That often leads to pregnancy, and the priests or bishops force them to have abortions. Yes, and these poor women now have to live with the anguish of having committed a mortal sin. We have many testimonies from nuns who had more than one abortion in this way.
J'entendais des femmes qui avaient souffert un avortement suite à une relation avec un prêtre, que le prêtre les avait conduits à avorter. Ça finissait plus, là.
Le nombre de ceux qui ont été violés sans être enceintes, je ne connais pas, mais celles qui ont avorté sont 32. Là où on pouvait avoir une cinquantaine seulement de religieuses.
Quando spuntano questi problemi qua al Cinte, devono allontanare dal convento. Non c'è assistenza, mandato così. La congregazione e la chiesa non sa manco dove questa povera è andata a finire. Nessuno si interessa. Una vergogna. Diventa come i lebbrosi nell'Antico Testamento. Nessuno con sorella vuole più rivolgere la parola.
Elles disent je suis complètement détruite de la tête aux pieds. Donc elles sont dans une situation de culpabilité terrible. D'abord par la transgression, et si c'est l'abus, et puis en plus savoir que dans leur sein la vie a été détruite.
Of kids, the time of Herod will come again, for the little innocent children will be taken from their nurses and will die of terrible wounds inflicted by cruel men.
Leonardo da Vinci, vegetarian, seems to have foretold the horror of paedophile priests abusing children who have innocently come to serve in the church, along with the abomination of abortion being forced upon the purest life, that of the unborn child. That is not to even mention those who rape and kill children outside in society. Our modern days are truly a tragic time for the younger generation, born and starting to bloom on this earth.
Ireland, once regarded as the most Catholic country in the world. That, though, is no longer the case.
By all accounts, the Catholic Church in this country is in serious trouble. The feeling here is that unless the Vatican modernizes or changes the rules very quickly, the Church in this country will effectively cease to be in the years and decades to come.
On the 13th of February, the final report of the Independent Commission for the Study of Sexual Abuse in the Portuguese Catholic Church will be released. In October, the Commission had already validated 424 testimonies, but most had already expired in legal terms.
Número que é significativo, mas temos que...
It's a significant number, but we have to be aware that this number is just a drop in this area.
This priest preyed on women and girls as young as 6. Catholic authorities never reported him. Instead, they let him retire at Gonzaga University among students. Since '86, at least 20 Jesuit priests were sent to live there after being accused of sexual misconduct.
There were Jesuit priests who had been accused of sexual abuse, assault, and/or misconduct in more than 100 Native communities in both Alaska and the Pacific Northwest.
It is very widespread, and if you think about it, there are villages that have generations of people that have been sexually abused by clergy. And we know for a fact that in some villages there were perpetrator priests that were in the same village over 3 decades.
In 2015, a group of researchers found evidence that the Vatican had hidden away dozens of controversial documents detailing sexual abuse by Catholic priests. The researchers claimed that the Vatican was more concerned with protecting its reputation than safeguarding the abuse victims.
I mean, there's the one religion, the Catholic Church right now, not the Catholic religion. It is the Pope and the Jesuits, that kind of organization that is even killing babies for sacrifice and for Satan. So therefore, they don't care if their priests or any priest in the Catholic system rapes babies.
When I was 4 years old, I am the oldest one from the whole family, and it's a church ritual from what is in the Bible. The first born should be offered to God. And that's what they did to me when I was 4 years old. They brought me to the south of Germany, and there were different bishops from that part of the country.
What were they doing?
They all raped me. It was not one of them who didn't do anything. They did it all.
Did they all torture you as well?
No. You are nothing for them. Only a toy. And they like to see you suffer. The more, the better.
What happened to the children? Were they ever caught and killed?
They were killed. And the children who are killed, sometimes what they do, the same with when they hunt on rabbits or animals, they eat them. They do the same way.
Did you ever see them kill the children and eat them? You actually see them?
I have to. Or they give it to the dogs, or both.
They don't care.
Yes.
Because that's the way they are doing it. That's the way they believe. They believe in Satan instead of God Almighty.
Yes, Master.
In his homily at the Casa Santa Marta, Pope Francis explained what paralyzes Christians with a very graphic example.
Non rischiare, per favore, no, la prudenza, I comandamenti tutti, sì, è vero, ma questo ti paralizza.
The Francis effect is to disarm us. What he's doing is a threat to our faith. It's a threat to the church, and it's a danger for the salvation of souls.
In his sermon, he said, the Lord has redeemed all of us, with the blood of Christ, all of us, not just Catholics, everyone, even the atheists, everyone.
As one of the more disastrous pontificates in history, he has shown extraordinary ignorance on some points of Catholic doctrine and said some things which are completely out of line. There have been popes who have been complete mistakes. What distinguishes Pope Francis is that he's not just personally a mistake, but that he is trying to lead the Church in a direction which rejects tradition. None of the bad popes that I was alluding to in the past tried to do that. So you have these two elements of danger from Pope Francis. I very soon realized the gap that there was between the media image of Pope Francis and the reality as it was known to people in the Vatican.
It's almost like Francis does exactly the opposite of what you would expect the Vicar of Christ to do.
With Pope Bergoglio, as with all modernists, it is impossible to seek clarity, since the distinctive mark of the modernist heresy is dissimulation. Masters of error and experts in the art of deception, they strive to make what is ambiguous universally accepted, presenting it from its harmless side, which will serve as a passport to introduce the toxic side that was initially kept hidden. And so the lie, obstinately and obsessively repeated, ends up becoming true and accepted by the majority.
Etc.
Go ahead, talking loud and making war. Soon, your mouth will be just used for screaming in agony in hell.
Majestic viewers, thank you for joining us today. Please tune in again next week as we dive deeper into the prophecies of Italian Renaissance genius Leonardo da Vinci, vegetarian. Coming up next is His Majesty King Chulalongkorn, or Rama V, the great beloved royal Buddha of Siam, part 2 of 2, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. May heaven bless you and your family forevermore.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not reach.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/AP.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/AP.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/AP.
Chương trình của chúng tôi cung ứng nhiều ngôn ngữ. Xin xem suprememastertv.com/schedule và suprememastertv.com/AP.